If you follow any kind of Diablo 3 news, then the chances are you've already heard about the new system in Diablo 3 called Nephalem Valor. If you haven't heard about this system, then don't worry, I'll be going over it, and what it means for you, me, and the game in general, and what my thoughts are on it. So this post that they put up yesterday goes over the system where they explain how if you kill a champion pack, you will now be getting a stacking buff for each of these champion packs that you kill. Now, it's still in testing, internal testing only. This is not in the beta, but they are testing it at Blizzard, and they haven't really finalized everything yet. Now, don't think that this is going to change the release date. It's not. This is something that they can tweak and change as they go along, all the way up until the game releases, because we already know that there will more than likely be a 0-day patch. The moment the game goes live, we will have to update in some form. So you kill these champion packs. They give you this buff. We don't know how high it's going to go, but Bashiok has stated that he thinks it'll be low, about what you can count on a hand, so say 5 or less. And we don't know exactly how much each stack will affect your gold and magic find, but that's what it's going to do. You kill a champion pack, your gold and magic find will directly be impacted and increased. Now, this will also cause boss mobs to drop additional loot. Not better loot, additional loot. And the assumption right now is that for every stack that you have of Nephalem Valor, the boss will drop that many more items that will be equivalent to what a champion pack would drop. Now, I personally kind of like this system. There are certain drawbacks to it, and one of the drawbacks is that the stacks will go away if you leave the game, obviously, or if you switch your skills. So if you change your passives, your skills, your runes, any of this, you will lose your stack. Now, thankfully, Bashiok did answer some questions about this. For example, how many stacks, we don't know. That's how I knew that it will probably be about 5 or less. So far, you do not lose it when you die, which I kind of agree with, honestly. Hardcore characters, if they die, they're screwed in general. But normal characters, if you die, you can still get revived. I think it would be just a bit too harsh to kind of knock it down on them if they die. The buff is split between players, technically. So what happens there is you kill this pack of mobs, and each of you will get this stack. And so if one of you changes your skills, then that person who changed their skills will lose their stacks. The rest of the party will not. It is individually based. So this means that if you've been killing champion packs and someone new comes in, they won't have their own individual stacks. However, because it is a direct increase to your gold and magic find, keep in mind that the gold and magic find system is now averaged across all the players in the game. So that means that your overall magic find will have gone down temporarily because of the new person to join, but they will be able to benefit part of it because they're getting it from you. But then all you have to do is kill a couple champion packs, and then theirs goes right back up. But this means that if you're in a team of people that you're playing with that you know, and maybe you know that this something coming up is going to be really tough, and you want to change your strategy up a bit. One of you can still swap out your skills. They'll lose the stacks, but the overall group will not have suffered too greatly with the gold and magic find, because if you've got 3 other people there with the full stacks, they've still got it. Now, keep in mind that the additional loot will only drop off of bosses if everybody has these stacks, so this is something you might want to consider a few pulls before a boss, because then you have a chance to bring your stacks back up. This is probably in place to prevent you from saying you're fighting a boss and all of a sudden everybody's low. Oh, I'm a monk, I can heal. I didn't skill for it though. Ooh, I'll skill for it now. Oh, well, I've lost my stacks. They don't really want the system to reward that kind of play. As of right now, the stacks also do not get removed after you kill a boss. And as far as if you're wondering, the snack seems to be lasting about 15 minutes. That's about what they're thinking so far. They don't know yet. Again, all of this is subject to change. It's only in internal testing. Also, if you're worried about losing your stacks on disconnect, they said there will be a grace period. So if you accidentally, get dropped because of your internet or something, but you get back into the game quickly, you should be fine. Now, I've already heard regarding this system that there's kind of a quote-unquote casual alert, and this is kind of something that I kind of hate to hear, because for some reason the word casual is kind of thrown around as almost like it's a bad word, and it's almost like people equate the word casual with someone being bad, and that's really not the case. A player can be casual and be good, just as a player can be quote-unquote hardcore and be able to play all the time and still be bad. Now, the reason why this is going out is because what they've said this is supposed to do is they want people to be able to go out and farm sections of the game that they enjoy without feeling that they need to be sitting there for a long 3-4 hour grind. I personally think that's a good goal, because some people may have only a certain amount of time to come in and play. Maybe they come in after work, they've got a couple hours, they want to play for a little bit. They can benefit from the system. They don't have to feel like they're tied down, and then they can stop. And the truth of the matter is, this does not hurt a hardcore player in any way, because they will still have the benefit of having additional time and finding additional loot, because they have simply put more time into it. Just because this system is in place doesn't mean that because you're spending more time means that you're being punished and the casual guy is going to get anything. Random is random after all. That casual guy may randomly get a really good item even without this system. And I've also heard the other argument of it kind of gotten put as a meme, scumbag Blizzard. They make a system that allows you to change your skills easily and then punish you for doing it. Well, I can see that argument. But the truth of the matter is, you can't really think of it too much as a punishment. This is more of a system as a bonus. It's sitting there that's supposed to be, you are kind of rewarded for sticking it out and going through these mobs. So losing that, you're not being punished because you're not getting any worse. If you don't have this Nephalem Valor, then the game technically hasn't changed. You just don't have the added boon. Almost if you consider it like a shrine, a skill shrine or an EXP shrine or something like that. What I like about this system is it brings in bosses back in. Here's the dilemma. This is really the dilemma that Blizzard was trying to solve. Back in Diablo 2, the way to get gear was to find a boss and to farm that boss. Mephisto runs were common. Eventually, I believe, getting replaced by Baal runs. You basically formed a team, and someone would probably have the map pack on, and your goal was to run past everything as quickly as possible. Get to the end of the game, or that section, get to the final boss, and kill that boss with a large amount of magic find. And because the bosses had a very high loot table, this was the most effective way of farming the game. Blizzard doesn't want you to have to slog through bosses all the time. They're really trying to solve that problem so that you don't get bored hitting the same thing over and over again. Then it just becomes a game like WoW, where you've got a raid boss and you're just constantly hitting it. I like this system. I've always liked this random system because you have a chance of finding the best item in the game out of a barrel. It's just that elite and champion packs have a higher chance to drop loot, and therefore are the best chance you have at finding loot. However, if you're always farming champion mobs, then someone's going to find an efficient way in a small group or area of the game, go in where maybe this champion pack is almost guaranteed to spawn, kill the champion pack, leave the game, go back in, do it all over again. This happened with Pendleskin in Diablo 2. He had items that could drop. He had a fairly decent chance of dropping things, I believe. You'll have to forgive me, as it's been forever since I've done that, but I remember there was a reason why people wanted to kill him. And so you would just go into the game, go to the waypoint, kill him, leave the game, come back in. Very common practice, really. And Blizzard doesn't want you to have to do that either, because that's not interesting either. They want you to be able to take, like the beta, I go up to the Skeleton King. I enjoy going and killing the Skeleton King. Well, now I'm rewarded for doing that, because for every champion pack on my way to the Skeleton King, I get additional magic and gold find. Great. And this solves the problem that was caused by them reducing the boss loot. Now, you may not realize it from watching, say, my videos, or you might, because I have killed the Skeleton King more than once on some videos. You kill the Skeleton King once, you are guaranteed at least one rare find, possibly two. But that's only for the first time that you kill him for that difficulty level. Every other time you kill him, he drops loot that's honestly like a normal monster. He drops less loot than a champion pack does. And that was to solve the original problem of farming bosses all the time. So now, they've created the opposite problem. Now bosses don't matter at all. You go in and you kill the Skeleton King, well, he's not going to drop anything. Why do I want to kill him? I'm going to go farm these elites. This system is designed to solve both of these problems. You go in, you kill a few elites, and now when you go fight a boss, because you've killed a few elites and you have some stacks, the boss will now drop stuff. I think this is important, because if the boss simply dropped items the same as a champion did, then there still wouldn't be as much incentive to kill a boss. Simply because bosses, end-act bosses, see, we've only seen the Skeleton King. He's a sub-boss. But end bosses, or even sub-bosses like the Skeleton King, if they only drop normal loot, then that's a huge time investment. You look at the Skeleton King, his hit points have been buffed recently, and he's taking a while to kill. So why would I want to spend that time killing him when he could possibly kill me? Or I could be spending the 5-10 minutes it takes to kill him, and I could have killed 2 or 3 champions by now. Well, now this is I don't really want to say it's the most elegant solution, but it is a solution to that problem. I honestly couldn't think of something else. I'm not going to say this is the best way to do it, but I really don't think I could come up with another system off the top of my head. I'm sure there are some of you out there who might have some brilliant idea to do it. And honestly, I would say put it in the feedback forums if you do. I mean, there are other ways of doing it, but honestly, this one sounds good to me so far. So, I also wanted to kind of bring back, going back to talking about the rewards for doing this. When you think about it, some people have been asking for permanence for characters. There have been a lot of people who weren't happy with putting in skill points, and honestly, I've delved in the skill point system in Diablo 2, and it really wasn't that great. I mean, it seemed like you were doing a custom character, but the truth of the matter is, certain pieces of loot required a certain amount of dexterity, a certain amount of strength. You pretty much put everything in the vitals so you could survive. If you didn't follow these certain guidelines for filling out your ability attribute pool, you could seriously gimp yourself, and you were not going to be able to get very far in Nightmare or Hell difficulty. So I'm honestly glad that they didn't put that back in, because it really didn't affect your character as much as some people might think it did, other than the fact that you could do it wrong. And I don't really like a system that hampers a new person's ability. If you didn't go out and find a guide, if you didn't know that there was one right way to do it, you could seriously harm your character permanently. You would have to re-roll to fix it. Well, we don't have permanent skill trees and we don't have permanent attributes, and I actually kind of like that we can swap our skills, because it allows you to play around with them, change them at need. Now you don't have to have multiple characters for single player and for PvP. And you don't have to have multiple characters for single player and group, because let's face it, what you do for solo play might be different in group play. So I'm glad that we have that system. And now, for the people that wanted permanence, Well, it's not, obviously, it's not permanent, but if you play your character without swapping your skills, you are justly rewarded. And what I think this will do is make people think about more well-rounded builds. Because you're obviously going to want to be able to kill champion packs and bosses to maximize your loot now. And some people are still going to focus maybe on single target damage. Some people might still focus on snares. But that's fine. How you want to play is great. You just have to keep in mind that if you want to benefit from this system, you might not want to be too singularly focused on one way to play. I honestly, again, think this is going to be a good system for the game. I'm looking forward to it. It's just a shame that we really won't get to play with it in the beta, because the system is only designed for level 60 characters. Also, it is for normal and hardcore, so you don't have to pick one or the other. You will get that benefit regardless. Well, now that you've heard me sit and ramble on about the system, hopefully I've made the system a little more clear. If you hadn't read it yet, or if you have and you weren't quite sure, I mean, hopefully this gives you some insight as to how I see it and how I think it changes things. I really think this is a good way to reinforce the fact that you should be playing wherever you want to. I personally like playing acts in their entirety. Even in Diablo 2, it wasn't the most efficient, but I liked exploring the acts again. And this will give someone like me the benefit of exploring and getting the additional gold and magic find for killing elites and going through and killing bosses again. Of course, this all being said, I am interested in hearing what some of you guys think, obviously. It's a great discussion piece. So you feel free to leave comments in the section below, or feel free to post on the forums. I typically read Diablo fans. Occasionally I'll read the official forums. I find that one a little harder to track for some reason. I'm a little more partial to Diablo fans, to be honest. I find it a really good community. People seem fairly knowledgeable there and friendly. So, but please, feel free, add conversations. I will be reading the comments. I may respond to some. I may not be able to get to respond to some, but I will at least be reading them. And, if there's anything that needs clarification, I'll be more than happy to try and do that, either in comments or if I have to do another reaction video or something like that. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending time with me. I know it's been kind of just 20 minutes of me rambling about the new system. Hopefully at least has been somewhat entertaining. This is Kagekaze, signing out.